Hello everyone, welcome to the experience. My name is Flamino and today I'm going to show you what my experience was like in a fetish house, more specifically a BDSM one, that kind of stuff, before the video continues. Help me out by giving this video a like because this is going to be a bit different from what I'm used to recording here. It might end up being funny, it's kind of embarrassing, so I think it deserves a like, it'll help a lot. And comment Pucarontas because it has everything to do with this video. Yeah, I decided to go, right? These houses, I don't know how else to describe them except as fetish houses. I can already see this video getting demonetized because of the words that are going to be mentioned here. The first thing I noticed is that as soon as I got there, they didn't ask me for any ID. I think it's also because I don't look that young, but maybe they just don't ask anyone for ID. And someone who's 17 and wants to get in there, if they look older, they can do it. I found it a bit unusual, right at the entrance when making the payment, which by the way is pretty cheap. There's a fee, like the fee just to get in and the minimum spend, right? I don't drink, so I only paid the entrance fee, which is really cheap. And before we go in, the receptionist, she explains what you can and can't do. Inside there are rules, right? Obviously a place like that, right? Even though there's a certain freedom inside to do some things, there have to be rules so it doesn't turn into chaos. For example, you can't record inside. That's why this video is just me telling the story. I couldn't record anything inside, right? Because people could be recognized and that could be bad, right? Let's suppose a guy who's married is in a place like that. It could be bad for him, and actually it could be bad for me too, right? Since I'm not that hard to recognize on the street, I was recognized inside. So let's suppose I tried to do this discreetly, I wouldn't be able to. People who work with the internet have a bit of difficulty. That's the negative side of working with the internet. If you want to do something without anyone knowing, it's much harder than for someone who doesn't have as much visibility. Well, some of the rules inside are like you can't record, you can't film, you can't touch anyone without asking for permission. What I think is that this rule should exist everywhere, not just inside a place like that, it's just that in a place like that. People might feel that just because someone is wearing slightly shorter clothes, it means it's an invitation. No, that doesn't work inside or outside, but it's to make it very clear that you can't touch another person if you don't ask first. And actually, this thing about really short clothes is taken very seriously. You can be naked inside there. There's no rule that you have to be wearing clothes. So if you're inside and naked people walk by you, that's normal, and if you want to be naked, that's normal too. No one is going to judge you for that or tell you to put on clothes. Another thing you can't do is hit someone until they bleed. Specifically until they bleed, because I saw some people getting hit there, like getting spanked, you know? On the back, it's pretty crazy. There are several types of whips there, but we'll get to those details in a bit. First, let's talk about the rules. There's also something called wax play, which I didn't know what it was, and there's a rule related to it. Wax play without protection is forbidden. Wax play. It's that thing where, if I'm not mistaken, I think I read about it and that's what it is. It's when you melt a candle and drip it on someone. But then I was thinking, okay, so you can't do it without protection. If someone's fetish is being burned by a melting candle, they'll use protection to avoid burns. I didn't really get this, so if you guys who know about this stuff understand this rule better, explain it to me because I didn't get it. It's kind of like that. It's forbidden to get spanked without wearing armor, kind of like when it comes to beatings or spanking, I don't know, either with implements or with your hand. There was a rule like that. There was a drawing of a human body. I'll try to recreate it in art and show it to you guys here. Maybe you'll even find a human body diagram on the internet. And showing the areas where you can hit harder and where you should hit softer, obviously sensibly, right? No one will get hit by accident. Just because it's a place for unusual fetishes doesn't mean you'll walk in and accidentally whip someone. As soon as I walked in, a performance was happening inside. There are several, right? Since there are many fetishes, there are several performances related to those fetishes. This can be done either by people from there or by people who are just getting to know the place. Let's suppose if I go there with a girl, I can do a pole dance performance with her as part of a group and people will stop to watch and everything. I'm not gonna make any money from it or anything. Maybe I'll get some offers, right? That's kind of open, but it's a pretty open place, right? The little stages, right? There are little stages and there are specific areas for specific fetishes. They're open for people to use or perform, right? Because people are going to watch, right? The place there is very discreet. It's all very open. So as soon as I walked in, there was a pole dance going on. I don't know if it was by a girl who worked there or something, but she really knew what she was doing at a slightly higher level than normal pole dancing. But even so, pole dancing isn't something I can look at with like desire. I look at it and there's that admiration like, wow, that must be really hard, but I don't look at it with any ulterior motives. Yeah, for me, it doesn't create any stimulation at all, not even a positive one. When I arrived, there was already a small crowd gathered around the pole dance since the place isn't very big. The place must be, I don't know, about 70 square meters. The lighting is really well done. I thought it was very well themed, you know? There are pictures on the walls with BDSM stuff. There are also TVs showing videos related to that, and there's a lot of LED lighting. When I visited, the place was kind of reddish. I'm not sure if they changed the color. That's why I used a reddish theme and cover for this recording. On the lower floor, when you look around, it doesn't really look much different from a bar except for the dance pole, but it's not even on a stage. The pole is at the same level as us. The upper floor isn't much different, actually. I'm lying, it's the lower floor. There is something that's a little unusual, yeah, which is a couch with handcuffs, but I don't know, sometimes you're walking in a bar and you say, look, a couch with handcuffs isn't that out of the ordinary. Maybe it's right when you go up, going to the upper floor. There's a wall with whips, with different kinds of whips. I had no idea there was such a wide variety of whips. So before going in, I forgot to mention the lady. She was explaining the rules to me and she said, look, today people can't have sex in there openly, you know? And then I asked, why can't it happen today? Because there are days when it can. There are days when it's like a swingers club, it's open and people can have sex openly. You go there and leave. What else is on the second floor? The second floor is the place. Like where all the accessories are actually, there are accessories there for sale. By accessories, I mean everything related to the BDSM scene. There are accessories I've never even seen before. And the people upstairs are already a bit different from the people downstairs. They're already a bit more dressed up for the theme, right? As soon as I went up there, there was a woman wearing a really truly different outfit. Like with a pacifier, a little pacifier, and it wasn't a regular pacifier, it was a pacifier that you were forced to suck on because it had this thing you tie like this. Look, you have to suck on the pacifier because you can't spit it out because it's tied here, you know? It's really funny. I'm not part of that scene, guys, so some things I saw there I thought were really funny. They're clothes I've never seen people wearing, so I go up there and see someone with a little pacifier in their mouth. It's funny. And then right next to it, there's like a square, like a little stage. That's also where shibari happens. Shibari is the art of tying. This one is really cool, it's really cool. There are some knots like this, it's really an art. It's like being a scout, but tying people, because there are some amazing knots. And it doesn't look like the person is uncomfortable, it doesn't look like it hurts, it actually looks pleasant. There was another stage further ahead, not too far from this one because the place wasn't very big, that had an X like this, and this X was like a wooden X where you tie the hands like this, so people are tied up on this X. And then someone comes and starts like spanking the person's butt like this. Wow, how do I say this in a way that won't get the video demonetized? And then there was also something like stocks. You know that part of the guillotine where you put your arms here, your head, and then it decapitates you? But without the decapitation part, yeah, you can just get stuck there. And it probably also serves for someone to come and spank your butt from behind. I don't know. So there was also a performance where people got their butts spanked. And you know, there's that rule there that you can't draw blood. So I was watching the girls there, like in their underwear, you know, like lingerie. And then a guy would go up there and use all kinds of whips on the girl's butt. It would get very red, but eventually it didn't draw blood. Some hit more gently at first, almost like affection, but it gradually becomes more intense. So, but those really well done ones, you know, the ones where you say, man, that hurt. Wow, there are some whips where you don't even need to hit that hard for it to hurt. Because there are some that are just chains, you know, like something to hold, and several small chains. So it hurts, you know, it really hurts. You don't need any force. And the girl's butt was starting to get really red because she stayed there, I don't know, for like half an hour until the guy showed all the whips, right? And the guy was strong. I think one whip from him, if he really wanted to, you could definitely see it. Estrella, by the way, that was actually a demonstration for people to watch. But if you want, you can just stay there, you know, with your butt out and you say this. people, you can slap my butt. You see, that's what happened with the guy who was there, and people would walk by and slap his butt. He would even thank them and then kiss their hand. Like, that really submissive thing, that happens a lot there. This whole submission thing, it's something I saw happening too. There are girls who seem to be with sugar daddies, right? I judge that, and I don't know, I don't have experience, but I'm just going by the big age difference. I looked and said, wow, it seems like it, that judgment just by appearance, even though everyone has the right to do it, even if it's wrong. I looked and said, it seems like it, right? Was there? There were two couples like that where it seemed like girls with much older guys. Regarding the way people are dressed, it's very common to see people there almost naked. It's very common to see people there dressed like children. It's very common to see people there wearing collars. That's the most common. I think a lot of people wear collars, and then these people with collars are pulled by other people, like they're little dogs. There's this thing called pet play. I don't know if you've ever heard about it. It's when one person takes another, and the other person pretends to be their pet, So that happens there, Rodo. Like, it's not a place I would usually go. I really went just to see what the experience was like. If you guys have been to other places like that, places you think I wouldn't go unless it's for a video experience, mention them here and I'll go, here's the video. I hope I didn't offend anyone in the business. If I said something wrong, please let me know. I don't know much about it. If you liked the video, leave a like to support my work. Leave a comment about any video you'd like me to make. See you next time. Even with people being drunk, I didn't see any fights or anything like that, which I usually see in bars. I didn't see anything happen there. Yeah, it's open, yes.